caravan vlogging.
Caravan storage. So there's a lot of, well, from what I can gather, there's quite a lot of new people coming into the caravan world. Now I had a few messages from people that are waiting to get caravans or are new to caravanning and just have bought a second-hand one if they're lucky to find one at the moment. So a couple of vlogs ago I did kind of what to do on when you get on site. There's a playlist I'll put somewhere up there, or maybe up there, and it's aimed fairly and squarely at beginners. So if you've got any questions, have a look at those vlogs first. It should help you. So caravan storage. Now it's not something well, actually for 1 year we had our caravan in storage when we was moving house. So you're probably thinking, it's okay, I've got a drive, I'll just plonk it on my drive. Now I don't mean my drive, I mean your drive. You're not parking on my drive, how dare you. So yeah, what you need to be careful of is if you have a reasonably new house, by that maybe the past 20 years or so, a lot of houses that are on, especially that are on estates, may well have drives big enough to have a caravan, but there could be a covenant, which is a kind of a restrictive covenant, which restricts what you can do to the house. Like maybe it might be something like you can only have certain style of windows, or you can only have do certain things to your front garden, and there could well be a section in there that says you can't park your caravan there. So it's not just as straightforward as buying a caravan, bringing it home, parking it on your drive. One, might upset your neighbours, and secondly, you might be falling foul of some restrictive covenant. Our house is a 1930s house, and I'm pretty sure there's a restrictive covenant on that we can't own chickens or goats in the garden. So we're okay to have a caravan. You may well be able to keep goats, but don't put your caravan there. You'll upset the neighbours and the local council. So what are your options? Obviously when you're on holiday you're with the caravan, but when you're not on holiday, which is going to be a fair amount of the year, maybe 75-80%, maybe 90% of the year, I don't know, why did I even get involved in percentages? For 2 weeks of the year you're probably definitely going to be using it. Other than that, you're going to need to keep it somewhere. So where? So there are lots of different storage sites options available. Now we found when we was in storage like 6 years ago, it was really difficult to find a space in any storage yard, let alone one that was reasonably near to us. So I would imagine these days, with so many new caravans on the road, it's going to be even harder. So if you do need to go into storage and you manage to find one, it's great. But there are a few things you need to be aware of and you need to look out for, and it might not be obvious. Right, so first and foremost is security. You might have a $2,000 caravan, or you might have a £30,000 caravan. It doesn't really matter about the value, it's your pride and joy, and you don't want it stolen. So I mean, the value of the caravan might affect the amount you're willing to pay for storage, and it also affects the amount you're probably willing to pay for insurance, stuff like that. So you find, for instance, you're looking for a storage facility, you find one online, what should you do next? Well, what you should absolutely 100% do is visit the site, have a look yourself, make sure it looks secure, speak to the owners, what do they do about security, what do they cover. They might well have CCTV, check the security fences, check the surrounding area. Does it look like, I mean, because the likelihood is in storage it's more than likely to be stolen, but it could also be damaged by, if it's a big storage yard, other people getting caravans and motorhomes in and out. I've read a few things that caravans have been damaged when in storage, and because you don't visit it quite so often, it might be 2 or 3 months before you go there, and if someone's smashed into your caravan, made a big dent in it, water getting in, you need to check things like, is the site manned all the time? Is there somebody that checks caravans every now and again, just has a wander around? Another thing you need to check is access. What's your access? When can you get in? What's the earliest you can leave? What's the latest you can come back? If you've got, like for us for instance, when we go to Cornwall, we like to leave fairly early in the morning. Is it 24-hour access? Can you just pull up whenever you want? Are there CCTV cameras? What's the lighting like? What's definitely what the fencing's like? I mean, you don't want to park your $30,000 caravan in a storage yard that's got fencing made of spaghetti, for example. Not that that's very likely, and I'm sure, but if you look online, it could say any sort of fencing. It could be like 8 foot high security grade fencing, and when you get there, there's a 3-foot picket fence which you might feel isn't secure enough. Are there electronic gates? Do they rely on number plate recognition? Do you have your own secure key fob to open the gates? If they have security cameras, do check that they're working. I know it sounds a silly thing, but honestly, if you're parking your caravan or motorhome in a storage facility, you need to convince yourself that what they're saying is going on there is actually going on. So if they have an office, go in, have a look, see if they're recording, if the cameras are working, see if they're recording. How long do they keep the recording for? Will your caravan be covered by a security camera? Also, give your insurance a call just to ask them if that site you're going to be on is recognised by them, if you maybe get some kind of discount. If you're interested in security levels of security and insurance discounts, potential insurance discount, I'd recommend you visit the CASOA website. Now that's the Association of Storage Owners or something. I can't remember exactly what it stands for. I'll put a link in the description. So they've got sites around the country, and they accredit a certain security level to them, like it might be bronze, silver, gold or platinum. Now those, they obviously vary in pricing, and they vary in the amount of security that they've got, like whether they've got number plate recognition, whether they've got security cameras, high fences, lighting, all the things like that. So it's kind of it's a handy source of information for you to check where sites are, and it still doesn't do away with the need to visit. I can't stress that enough. Visit the site, make sure you're happy with it. I think it's more important to get a site that's secure than it is to get one local. Obviously, within reason. I mean, you don't want to be living in London and having your caravan storage in Scotland, unless of course you holiday in Scotland a lot, then it might be ideal for you. So it needs to have a bit of sense, a bit of common sense about where you're selecting your storage site. Now, as far as pricings go, it varies wildly. The storage site we was on 5 years ago was basically Hertfordshire, and it was £600 a year. Now I've heard of people paying £800 a year, but I've also heard people saying they paid £200 or £300 a year, maybe for like a shed behind the haystack or something, on a farmyard, which might be okay. You could look at it that a storage yard could be basically a magnet for thieves, unless it's really secure, because they've got maybe 100 caravans to look at. If they're stealing to order, they're more likely to find it on a caravan storage site than they are a couple of caravans parked behind Farmer Giles's barn, for example. And also, they are sometimes, you can get inside storage on farms. I've seen them have massive cow sheds that they don't use anymore, clean them up, allow caravans in there. Another thing to bear in mind is what facilities the site's got on site. For instance, does it have water, caravan washing facilities, electricity? Is it tarmac, or is it just a field that could potentially be muddy in the winter? I think some local councils do have storage facilities, but you're going to get a waiting list. It's like council housing. There's going to be like a 10-year wait, hopefully not that long, but you don't know. It could be 10-year waiting list. You might end up going to a storage site that you're not particularly happy with, but you're waiting on another list to get to a more secure one. So that's potentially an idea there. So that's pretty much it really on storage sites. So it's potentially not as straightforward as you might feel. The biggest issue I think you're going to get is if you've got a caravan on order now and you haven't got somewhere to store it, then you're going to potentially have issues with availability in your local area. And then of course, supply and demand, so prices are no doubt going to go up. But just make sure you feel you're getting value for money, and especially on the security side. So there you are, storage sites in a nutshell for beginners. Please be careful where you store your caravan, because like I say, it doesn't matter the value. I mean, personally to you, it doesn't matter value. What's important is it's your pride and joy, and really you don't want it stolen. I mean, we're currently without a caravan. If you follow the channel, you know why. And it's an absolute nightmare. Really is. And for one to be stolen, I just can't imagine what you go through if it's not there. So prevention is better than cure. Make sure you're on a secure site, and your caravan's nice and safe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.